Hello and welcome to watchmaxe's watch videos. My name's Axel and I'm glad to have you on the show for another episode of my 1 week on the wrist video. And this is gonna be a week which I'm totally excited about. It's the first time that I try to keep a one-hand watch on my wrist for a full week. After I had the chance to visit Botta in their design studio, I decided to buy a one-hand watch. I always liked the idea and the concept of a one-hand watch. And after I've been there, I really decided to go for it and try it. Why I decided for that particular watch and what I like, what I don't like, I will show you during the full week, and I really hope I can stand the week with a watch which only has a single hand, no luminescent power, and I'm really curious. If you are also curious and you like these kind of videos, my 1 week on the wrist format and my other videos, you can subscribe to my channel just below the video, and you won't miss any of my future videos, neither the 1 week on the wrist or my other formats. And now let's kick off the week, day 1. Yeah, this is the Botta Uno. It's the anniversary edition. It's a really nice watch, a one-hand watch. And if you have a look, you can see we have, let's say, 717, 718, something like that. So you can estimate the time quite well. The dial is not deep black. It's a kind of mother of pearl approach. So really nicely done. The 5 minutes indices are applied indices which create a nice reflection of the light if you move the watch. The watch is made from titanium, which makes the watch an extreme lightweight. I think it's 32 gram, 35, something like that, with a diameter of 40 millimeter and a water resistance of 5 bar. The back of the watch is a signature design of Botta with the angle here on the sides, so you can see a really slim side view which turns to the back, and you have a small part which is on the wrist, so extremely comfortable to wear, made from titanium, extremely lightweight, and the polished one hand and the polished and applied 5-minute indices allow the watch to be read even in twilight conditions due to the reflection of the light. So maybe not to a minute, but sufficiently precise for my weekend or my holiday times, and I'm really curious how this watch does in my full week, which is a working week and not a holiday week. It's Wednesday morning, day 2. The Botta Uno is still on the wrist, and I'm really surprised how well I can read the time. With a quick look, I can read the time to 5 or 10 minutes accurate. If I need a more precise view, I need a little bit longer, but I'm surprised how fast it went to be able to read the time with just one hand on the dial. At night the watch is not readable, but this was clear to me from the beginning. Yeah, it's Wednesday evening, day 2. The Botta Uno anniversary edition is still on my wrist, and I have to say, I can't remember having had a watch which kind of forced me to look so often to other watches like my mobile, my cell phone, or the time on my PC, just in order to compare if I read my wrist watch correctly. So during the afternoon, I became more relaxed and more confident to read the time correct, but it was a quite new experience for me, particularly for someone like me who has a couple of meeting appointments during the working day, and I'm scheduled down to the minute. I hate to be late, and I do know exactly when I stand up, go to the kitchen, pick up a coffee and go back. It takes about 2.5 minutes. So if I have 3 minutes to go for the next meeting, I can pick up a coffee. I cannot pick up a coffee and sparkle some water because this together took about 4 minutes. It would be 1 minute late for the meeting. And if you have a watch which only can tell the time to a minute or two precise, it is a challenge. During the day, I changed my rhythm and I changed my personal way to manage myself. I became more relaxed, but it was quite a new experience. Another point worth mentioning is that depending on which angle you look on the watch, the time the watch tells may be different by 5, 6, 7 minutes. Depending on the angle. I'll show you that in the video, and it's important to know if you go for these kind of watches, if you need to compare 2 points in time and you need to be as precise as possible, you have to make sure that you look at the watch from the same angle in order not to have a variation of 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes just because of the angle you look at the watch. It was new to me, and I think it's really good to know if you choose to have such a watch. What I really do like, and this is something I'd also like to share with you, is the documentation I received with the watch. On the one hand, you have the certificate of authentication. It's nice. It's something I got with other watches as well. But what I really do like is the service booklet. It kind of makes the watch more valuable, and it made me smile. Do I need it? Actually, not really. Do I like it? Of course I do. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share for today. I really look forward to the next coming days to see if I can stand with a one-hand watch in my working or my weekend time, and I'll keep you posted any day. Well, it's a Thursday morning, day 3 of my 1 week on the wrist. The Botta Uno is still on my wrist, and there is one point I would like to share with you, and that's that I had some challenges in setting the correct and accurate time. When I set the time at a watch with minute and hour hands, I always use the minute hand to set the correct time. And between 2 hour markers, let's say 1 and 2 o'clock, you have a 5 minutes interval where you set the minute hand. And if you are not exactly precise, you might miss the exact time by half a minute or a minute maximum. If you set the time with a one-hand watch, you just have one hand, and the elapsed time between 2 hour markers is exactly 1 hour, which means the way the one-hand way goes for 1 minute represents 12 minutes for the hour hand or the one hand of the one-hand watch. So you have to be more than 10 times as precise to set the time, and this was a kind of challenge for me to set the hour hand, the one hand, as precise as I wanted it to have. Very interesting experience, and now it's fine. It's a quartz watch, so I don't do it too often, but yeah, it was a new experience for me. It's Thursday evening, day 3 of my 1 week on the wrist with my Botta Uno, and I'm torn between love and hate, to be honest. The concept of a one-hand watch is a great one. However, I think when I would buy another one-hand watch, it must be a watch with a white dial and black hands to ensure to have the best possible contrast, which really facilitates and supports the readability. With the grayish dial and the silverish hands, In some conditions it's not easy to read and it's hard to read the time. Talking about the one-hand design of a watch, it's on the one hand it really calms me down and makes me totally relaxed. It's about 10, it's about 9:30, so don't worry too much about the time, and that's absolutely great. I love that. Over the working day, when I have firm appointments, it's totally different. If I have a watch with a dedicated minute hand, I do know I have 10 minutes to go before my next appointment, and I do exactly know what I can do in those 10 minutes. With a one-hand watch, it's about 10 minutes, could be 12, could be 7, could be 6, and this really increases the pressure I have and makes me nervous. So I do know a one-hand watch is a great watch for me for a weekend, for a holiday, for a dinner at night, but not for my working day, and I think I'm not going to wear the watch when I have firm appointments and I need to be on spot on certain dates. It's Friday morning, day 4 of my 1 week on the wrist. My Botta Uno is still on my wrist, and I love that watch any day a little bit more, although I know it's not designed for my working days. One thing I would like to mention is that in daylight, natural light, so no artificial light, the readability is better. I hope it becomes clear here, because in artificial light the reflections of the applied indices and the silver print on the dial creates reflections which makes reading the time, particular with the one-hand watch and the small spaces between the indices, makes it a little bit more difficult. Well, as some of you know, I do not only like watches like the Botta Uno, which is on my wrist, but also gin. And this arrived today. This is my set for my first online gin tasting, which will be somewhere in April. So I really look forward to it, and occasionally I'll keep you posted. Well, it's a Friday night, to be more precise, Saturday morning. The Botta is still on the wrist. It's about 1:15, and it's actually at the moment quite hard for me to keep the Botta on my wrist, and the reason is not that the Botta is not a good watch, but that the new watch arrived today. It's the Guinan Duograph Classic in the limited edition of the FAZ newspaper, and I'm quite curious to get it on the wrist, but the Botta will stay on my wrist for a couple of days. But after that, the next video, 1 week on the wrist, will start. So I have 2 reasons to look forward to that date. It's Saturday, day 5 of my 1 week on the wrist. It's about 11:15. The Botta Uno is still on my wrist, and on a weekend day, it's a great watch when the minute doesn't count. Absolutely relaxing, and I absolutely enjoy it. I seldom had the watch which I could divide so clearly into working day and spare time. During spare time it's great. On a working day it kind of stresses me, but in a spare time it's a great watch and I love it. Yesterday a new watch arrived. It's the Guinan Duograph Classic Chrono in the limited edition for the German newspaper FAZ, which I'm going to show you now because this is going to be my next 1 week on the wrist video. Here we have the Guinan Duograph Classic Chrono in the limited edition for the FAZ. As you can see, you have 2 counters, no running second, which is extremely relaxing. It's a really nice chronograph with a decorated movement, and let me see if I can show it to you. It's the number 45 out of 50, so this edition is limited to 50 pieces only. There is 1 to go, and it's not the number 50. I'm going to do a full review over the next days or weeks, and I'll start next week my 1 week on the wrist video. Not quite sure when it's going to be released, but stay tuned and you won't miss it. It's Saturday. The Botta Uno is still on my wrist. We have about 11:45, And with any day passing, I can read the time with the one-hand watch more secure and quicker, and I feel more convenient, always under the condition that I don't need to be precise to the minute. And the concept convinced me. It's a great one for my leisure time. I'm going to keep the watch. Nevertheless, I look forward to Tuesday, switching back to my new Guinan with the chrono standard time display, and to be able to keep my appointments to the minute during my working days. It's Sunday morning, day 6 of my 1 week on the wrist. The Botta Uno is still on the wrist, and we have about 10:30. And hey, in the meantime, it feels really great to tell the time that way. It's about, give or take, more or less, 5 minutes don't count. It's totally relaxing on a weekend, and I enjoy it any day more. However, I look forward to a more precise watch for my working days. I have a cup of coffee, and today it's going to be a video day for me. I'm going to do a couple of Decla videos, probably one of a Guinan, and I complete a Star Club video about a Laco Erbstück. So it's a pretty packed day, and I really look forward to present the videos to you over the coming weeks. Maybe I have time to take some detailed shots of the Botta today. Tomorrow there's going to be a summary and a final comment. And actually I do look forward to a more precise watch during my working days next week. It's Sunday evening. As you can see, it's about 20 past 12. And the Botta Uno is a really great watch, a wonderful watch for spare time, leisure time, weekend, evening hours. Absolutely great. And yeah, I'm gonna keep it, I think. The Botta Uno is an absolutely great watch. It's my last evening. Tomorrow I'm going to change to a new watch. The experience I had is absolutely great. It changed my personal way how I perceive time, and everyone who likes to make the same experience may go for a one-hand watch. And I would be really happy to read and to know what you think, what your experience is, and if your perception of time did change as well. It's Monday morning, day 7, the week Botta on the wrist, 1 week on the wrist with my Botta Uno ends now. And I do look forward to the next week on the wrist with my new watch. Yeah, the week with the Botta was a really great experience. It changed my personal perception of time. I learned a lot about myself and the way I handle time. If any one of you wants to kick off the same experiment and make the same experience, Botta is a great brand to go to. Botta is the inventor of the one-hand watch, and particularly the quartz watches are really affordable ones. So it's really worth to do it if you consider buying a one-hand watch. For me, it was absolutely great. I don't want to miss it. And now I look forward to my other watches, to the other videos I do, and I hope so do you. Cheers, Axel.